Gameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, bring you our Week 6 college football preview between the Ohio State Buckeyes and the Northwestern Wildcats. Now let's take a look at some keys to victory for both teams, starting with the Buckeyes.
When you look at the Buckeyes in this ball game, right now they're dominating up front. I love their raw offensive line. Quarterback Braxton Miller is back healthy, and he gives them a different dynamic in the pocket. This is a guy who can do it with his legs as well as with his arm. And Kenny Guyton is a very good quarterback in his own right. Would start on more than half of the teams across the country. Defensively, they do a great job of rallying to the football, and it's a great team defense. 11 guys are flowing in one direction and getting guys down on the ground. Now, versus Northwestern, they're going to have to play with controlled aggressiveness versus this Wildcats offense because of the fact they do a lot of misdirection and they try to get you out of position, and you can't have that if you're going to knock off the Wildcats this week. Now let's move over to Northwestern in this ball game, and they're one of the fastest teams in the Big Ten, both on offense as well as defensively, and they actually make the two quarterback system work to perfection. But running back Benrick Mark is the real reason why this offense goes. He's a special talent in the backfield. Now defensively, I love their personnel at every level. There's a playmaker, defensive end Tyler Scott, linebacker Chichi Ariguzo, strong safety Ibrahim Campbell, and they do a very good job versus the run, but they really excel versus the pass. And when you look at strong side linebacker Colin Ellis, he does a great job in space. The X factor in this ball game for Ohio State will be quarterback Braxton Miller. He's your quintessential X factor, a guy that can do a lot of damage on the ground as well as through the air. But I'm pretty sure they're going to rely more so on his arm this week, as I'm pretty sure head coach Pat Fitzgerald will draw up a game plan to keep him contained in the pocket. So he's going to have to win throwing the football this week versus Northwestern. The X factor in this ball game for the Wildcats will be their linebacking core. Ohio State does a great job running downhill tackle to tackle, so not only will they have to keep contained versus Braxton Miller, but they also have to be prepared to stop that run head on in the hole. Now here's some coaching points for both teams in this ball game. For Ohio State, you want to slow down the pace of the game. The Buckeyes do a great job of dictating tempo in a ball game with that big offensive line, and they do have a size advantage up front versus Northwestern this week. Now look at the matchup between linebacker Ryan Shazer, their outstanding athletic second-level defender, versus Benrick Mark, the dynamic playmaker for Northwestern. I would match up Shazer on Mark throughout the course of the ball game, in the running game as well as in the passing game, where I'm pretty sure they're going to try to get him out in space. Shazer is the guy that does a great job in space, so that should be a great matchup to watch out for throughout the course of the ball game. And you want to win on first down defensively. You want to make Northwestern one-dimensional. Win on first down, put them in obvious passing situations, and then you can dictate what you want to do defensively. And for Northwestern in this game, you want your defensive ends Tyler Scott and also Dean Lowry to squeeze those tackles inside to force the running back in the backfield, try to bounce it outside where he will be running into the waiting arms of an outside linebacker. So you want to force the running back to go where your field help is, which would be your two outside backers in that defense. And the passing game has to get off to an early start. You're going to have to loosen up that box so that way you can run the football effectively with Benrick Mark. So the passing game, whether it be intermediate or deep down the field, will have to get going early in order to have a chance. And the cornerbacks will have to win the individual matchups versus Ohio State's wide receivers. You look at cornerbacks Nick Van Hoos and Dwight White, a sophomore and a redshirt freshman respectively. They've done a sound job all season long, but this is a different animal. You're going to have to win those battles out there on the flanks. Now here's some 2014 draft prospects you want to keep an eye on in this ball game. As you can see, a lot of talent on both sides of the ball for both teams. Defensively for Ohio State, they're loaded. You look at cornerback Bradley Roby, arguably one of the best corners in the country. Braxton Miller is a guy you want to keep an eye on moving forward, but their linebacking core is impressive with Curtis Grant and Ryan Shazer, and they also have talent up front along that offensive line in Andrew Noel and Jack Muhort. Now for the Wildcats, there's a lot of talent on this football team, and there's a reason why they're undefeated. You look at their defense as well. Their linebacking core is arguably one of the best in the Big Ten. Chichi Ariguzo, Damian Proby, Colin Ellis, all guys can play the run as well as play the pass effectively, but keep an eye on strong safety Ibrahim Campbell, only a junior, but definitely one of the best guys on the back end in the country. Eddie George is definitely a campus legend. From 1992 to 1995, the 6'3", 235-pound bruiser terrorized opposing defenses, and as a senior, he put it all together in a Heisman Trophy winning campaign, was a consensus All-American after rushing for over 1,900 yards and averaging 152 yards a game. Otto Graham was one of the greatest athletes of all time, and from 1940 to 1943, this is a guy that was an All-American not only in football, but also basketball, and also hit 300 on the baseball team. Definitely a campus legend for the Northwestern Wildcats. I like Northwestern to pull off the upset. I think the Wildcats have the speed on offense to give Ohio State problems, and they also have the speed on defense to give that offense problems. So this will be a great game between two outstanding programs, and Northwestern is the toughest test Ohio State has faced all season long. They can beat you on the ground as well as through the air, and I like their defense, the team speed, and athleticism, and I think they have enough to knock off the Buckeyes.